On the evening of October 3, 2008, a 33-year-old man named Jill Tatro found himself following a set of cryptic and mysterious directions that would lead him to a secluded garage in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Jill, originally from Washington, D.C., had recently separated from his wife and was hoping to start fresh. He moved to Edmonton, where he turned to the popular dating site Plenty of Fish in hopes of meeting someone new. After chatting online, Jill had quickly hit it off with a woman named Sheena, who went by the profile name Spiderwebs. Sheena seemed eager to meet, and her persistence made Jill feel both excited and wary. Although the directions she provided were confusing, he just assumed that Sheena didn't want to give him her physical address. Sheena's desire for privacy, she had told him that they meet a neutral place, and she gave the address of a garage that would be left open for him to drive into. His plan was simple: pick her up for dinner and a movie. He arrived at the location just after 7 p.m. As he pulled up, he noticed the garage door was only partially raised, and there was no sign of Sheena. He parked his car and cautiously entered the garage on foot, a sense of unease growing with every step. The garage was dark, and the air inside was heavy with silence. Jill paused for a moment, waiting for Sheena to appear, but instead, he was suddenly grabbed from behind. A powerful shock coursed through his body as a stun gun made contact with his skin. Startled and in pain, he turned to face his attacker, only to be confronted by a tall man wearing a hockey mask, eerily reminiscent of a character from a horror movie. The masked man pulled out a gun and pointed it at Jill, ordering him to lie on the ground. Adrenaline surged through Jill as he obeyed, and the man quickly forced duct tape over his eyes. Gilles knew he was in serious danger, but he made a split-second decision. If he was going to die, it wouldn't be on this man's terms. Summoning every ounce of strength, he tore the duct tape from his eyes and wrestled the gun from the man's hands. To his surprise, the weapon was nothing more than a plastic replica. The two struggled in the confined space of the garage. Jill fought with all his might, rolling into the garage door, which gave way and allowed him to escape into the alley outside. But the masked man wasn't done with him yet. He grabbed Jill's legs and tried to drag him back into the garage. The effects of the stun gun had left Gilles's legs weak and shaky, but he pushed himself to move as fast as he could. Desperately crawling away, Jill saw a couple walking nearby and pleaded for their help. But the couple, fearing it was a trap, hesitated. The masked man, sensing the couple's fear, assured them that everything was fine, claiming it was just a prank between friends. This interaction spooked the attacker, who then retreated back into the garage, allowing Jill to finally reach his truck and escape. Terrified and embarrassed by the ordeal, Jill never reported the incident to the police. He convinced himself that it wasn't as serious as it seemed, and tried to forget the entire encounter. Little did anyone know, this was just the beginning, and another man would soon fall into the same trap, with far more tragic results. Just a week later, on October 10th, 38-year-old Johnny Brian Altinger, known as Johnny to his friends, found himself in a similar situation. Johnny was a quiet man who worked as an oil field equipment manufacturer. Described by his friends as honest and hard-working, Johnny had a great sense of humor once you got to know him. Like Jill, Johnny had turned to Plenty of Fish in search of love and companionship. He soon began chatting with a woman named Jen, who, like Sheena, seemed very interested in meeting up in person. After building a rapport online, Johnny felt hopeful that he might have finally found someone special. He shared his excitement with his friends and even forwarded them the directions to the place where he was supposed to meet Jen. But after days passed with no word from Johnny, his friends grew concerned. It was unlike him to be out of touch for so long. Their worry only intensified when they received strange emails claiming that Jen had whisked Johnny away on a surprise trip to Costa Rica and that he would be gone until mid-December. The emails were bizarre and out of character for Johnny, leaving his brother Gary deeply unsettled. When Johnny's employer received a sudden resignation email, the situation became even more alarming. Johnny was never one to leave a job without notice, and the email's tone didn't sound like him at all. Concerned, his friends broke into Johnny's condo, hoping to find some clues. Inside, they discovered his passport and an empty suitcase, clear signs that he hadn't packed for a trip. The apartment showed no indication that Johnny had planned to leave for 2 months. With this disturbing discovery, the Edmonton Police Service finally agreed there was cause for concern and launched a homicide investigation. Following the directions Johnny had sent his friends, police were led to the same garage where Jill Tetreault had been lured just weeks earlier. The garage was rented by a man named Mark Twitchell, an aspiring filmmaker who loved sci-fi and dark and twisted movies. Born in Edmonton in 1979, Twitchell had dreams of making it big in Hollywood. He studied at the Northern Alberta Institute of Technology, focusing on radio and television arts, and had a passion for creating costumes and props. Twitchell's filmmaking ambitions started small but soon escalated. In 2007, he directed a Star Wars fan film called Secrets of the Rebellion, which included a cameo by Jeremy Bulloch, the actor who portrayed Boba Fett. Although the film garnered some attention online, it never saw a full release. Determined, Twitchell began working on a short horror film titled House of Cards. The plot centered around a man who was lured into a trap by someone using a fake online profile, a plot that eerily mirrored what was happening in real life. In September 2008, Twitchell rented the garage to use as a filming location. He even distributed flyers to his neighbors, warning them not to be alarmed if they heard any unusual noises, as he was filming a horror movie. Twitchell had also developed an obsession with the TV show Dexter, which followed the life of Dexter Morgan, a forensic technician who moonlighted as a vigilante serial killer. Twitchell admired Dexter's methods and began to see himself in a similar light. Mark Twitchell had been married twice, and both marriages ended in divorce. His first marriage, to an American woman named Megan in 2001, quickly fell apart due to Twitchell's infidelity. Megan eventually left him, unable to cope with his cheating and increasingly disturbing interests. In 2007, Twitchell married his second wife, Jess, who he met also on a dating site, with whom he had a daughter. However, this marriage also deteriorated as Twitchell's obsession with Dexter intensified. Jess became alarmed by her husband's fixation on the show, particularly his admiration for Dexter Morgan's character. Twitchell would watch episodes repeatedly, taking notes and discussing Dexter's methods as if they were a guide for his own life. When Jess discovered some of Twitchell's more sinister plans, including his desire to replicate Dexter's killings, she filed for divorce in 2009. When the Edmonton police enter inside the garage, police discovered a scene straight out of a horror movie. The small space, which appeared to be a simple workspace, contained evidence of a gruesome crime. But the most damning piece of evidence came from Twitchell's laptop, where investigators found a 42-page document titled SK Confessions, a detailed script about a serial killer who would lure victims into a garage using online dating profiles. The document was very similar how Mark Twitchell had lured Johnny Altinger to the garage, murdered him. The document described the killing in graphic detail, including how a victim bleed out, and even mocked his victim by making his mouth talk after death. The cold, calculated nature of the crime, combined with Twitchell's obvious attempts to emulate Dexter Morgan, made it clear that this was not a one-time event, but part of a larger plan. On October 19, 2008, Mark Twitchell was brought in for questioning by the police. During the interrogation, Twitchell was eager to talk about his filmmaking projects, especially House of Cards. He described the production process in detail, explaining how he had rented the garage for filming. He also claimed that the only people with access to the garage were himself and his production crew. Twitchell tried to appear cooperative, even suggesting that someone else might have tampered with the garage.
And when did you rent that garage?
I began renting it on September 1st.
Okay, and you rented it September 1st?
Mm-hmm.
And who'd you rent it from?
A company called Kirkside Real Estate.
Kirkside?
Kirkside, all one word, yeah.
Okay. And you got the only key to, or was it one or two
There's
keys?
2 keys.
Okay. So you got 2 keys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and where are those keys now?
You guys have the one that I had.
Okay.
And the other one, the last I heard of, is with one of my production assistants.
One of your production assistants.
Yeah.
Okay. And he is an assistant to you, but he didn't rent the garage, it's yours,
right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
And you pay for it?
Yeah.
For the rental?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I understand that you're doing this with a company and you're doing some other things.
Yeah.
So you personally rented it on behalf of the company.
Right.
And doing some filming.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now what have you been filming there? Have you been filming every day, or what's been going on there?
Nope. Well, most of my stuff is all pre-production. I knew that I was going to use it as a location for filming, so basically I began looking for something that was suitable in like late August.
Yeah.
So found that garage, found that it was an ideal location. It worked great for what our purposes were, and rented it. The only time that we actually spent shooting in that place was the last weekend of September.
The last weekend of September?
Yeah.
Okay.
We had an evening shoot on the Friday, and that was for a couple of hours actually at someone else's house. It was downtown, we shot in our condo. And then all day Saturday is when we used the garage to film.
Okay.
So, sorry, my contacts are
Yeah.
anyway.
No,
But yeah, so all day Saturday we used to shoot in that garage area, and then the Sunday in the evening we filmed somewhere else. So yeah, for that purpose, it was actually just the one day that we were there for actual shooting. Before that, we were in and out throughout the month for production design purposes, which was building our set pieces, getting things set up in there, power, that kind of thing, getting everything ready.
Okay.
So I'm more interested in writing, producing, and directing, and I've only noticed after the 3 or 4 years that I've been trying to get into the industry that the only way to do it is to make your own stuff, prove that you know what you're doing, and then people start to take you seriously. So I started making, my first film was a feature, a sci-fi fantasy film based on Star Wars content, which is all completely 100% shot now and in post-production. It's tough, it's really hard, but it's very worth it. I love what I do, and you know.
Obviously, you're very passionate about it.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love filmmaking. I figured that out back in 2005 when I first started writing my first script.
Yeah.
And from the first day that I stepped on a set in August of '06, that was when I knew. And then I just like, there's no going back.
Yeah.
Anything else is crap.
Yeah.
Nothing else would make me feel fulfilled in what I was doing and really love what I do, so I just chased it with everything I had.
Neat. Now, you've been told that we're looking for a missing man. Okay. Have you been told his name?
No.
Okay. The name is John
Okay.
Altinger. Altinger.
Okay.
Does that name ring a bell to you or mean anything to you?
No.
Never heard it before?
No.
He's nobody that you'd been using as an actor, or that maybe Mike or Jason would have been in touch with?
No, I don't think so. I don't know if Mike or Jay know him, but nothing that in terms of casting or production crew or anything like that.
No?
No.
Not a worker, not an employee you've heard about?
No.
No.
Twitchell's attempts to appear cooperative and helpful were transparent to the investigators, who were already building a case against him. But the police let him go for the time being. But the evidence against him was overwhelming. The discovery of SK confessions and the forensic evidence from the garage made it clear that Twitchell had meticulously planned and executed the murder of Johnny Altinger. The police also found Johnny's blood in Twitchell's car and evidence that Twitchell had attempted to clean up the crime scene, further implicating him in the murder. Mark also said that he got the car for $40 from a stranger on the street, which seemed unlikely. He sent another email to his production team, asking them to stop talking to the police. The police wanted to do another interview with Mark.
There's something else I want to tell you, Mark, and that's that there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that you're involved in the disappearance of John Altinger. No doubt in my mind at all, Mark.
Why?
As I said, Mark, there's no doubt in my mind that you're involved in this disappearance. I just want to get to the bottom of this, because this is not going to go away. You do have an idea. You have a very good idea, Mark, about what's going on. You know exactly what happened there that night. I mean, you haven't told us the truth. You are definitely not a dumb man. You know very well that you don't buy a car that's worth over $10,000 from someone for $40. You know that. You know that you get a bill of sale. You deal with items on eBay. You sell items all the time. Just like going to the store and buying anything.
I mean, I'm not talking anymore. This is ridiculous.
Well, what is your explanation? You haven't answered any of the questions. If you didn't do anything wrong, why wouldn't you answer those questions? Do you know why, Mark? Both of you and I know the answer. Because you're involved. You have the license plates to his vehicle in your car. You have the keys to his vehicle in your car. And this guy's missing and you have his car. You're involved over your head in this.
Is anything that you're saying genuine, or is this some sort of tactic?
You got to get away from the acting part, Mark, and listen to what I'm saying. You have told me nothing but lies. An innocent man does not come in here and tell lies. That's genuine, Mark. Everything I'm telling you in here is genuine. So get out of your film producer mode and the facade of thinking that everyone's an actor. Because this is real life. All right?
When Mark made his way to the police station and the story made headlines, Jill Tetreault, shocked by the similarities to her own experience with the story, decided to approach the authorities with his own chilling account.
He must have grabbed me, and we started struggling. Oh, and I'm guessing during this, that's when I'm like, okay, I gotta try to fight. And that's something I missed, or actually. I tried punching him too, but I was so weak. And I remember trying to punch him, and I know I can't hit this mask because that's gonna hurt my hands, so I'm trying to punch him in his chest. And I'm thinking, man, why am I so weak? And my punches aren't, I feel like I'm not doing anything, and it's like my punches are so weak. And then, so I realized, okay, I'm punching him, I'm not going to do anything. He's way bigger than me, and can't do anything. So then I started trying to kick him in the but I tried a few times doing that.
Did you get him?
No.
Did you hit him?
No, couldn't.
And did he hit you?
No.
What about kick you?
He tried, but I swerved as well. So I...
Like, is this
pretty
an all-out
good shape,
intense
too.
battle, or is it like...
No, that's the thing, is like, this is the whole thing. This is what I'm thinking while I'm doing this. This guy, he had, if he was more professional, he could have killed me right away. Like right when I walked in, I didn't see him. He could have hit me over the head with a bat, a baton, or anything. He could have knocked me unconscious right away. And I don't know why he did that. His whole plan was to use this taser thing on me first, and that was stupid on his part. But he had many chances to kill me. He never did. So he had that's why I thought afterward all this happened, he had a bigger plan for me. I thought maybe he was going to handcuff me and take me somewhere and do something.
So you're now trying to punch him, you feel weak, you're trying to kick him, you're not connecting.
Yeah, that's when he goes, well, since you're not cooperating, this is the way it has to be now. And then he starts punching me in my left side of my face. And for some reason, again, it would have been more effective for him to punch me in the nose, the eyes, you know, something. Because if he had punched me in the nose, I'd have been down, right? But he was punching the side of the head, trying to get my temple or knock me unconscious for some reason. I'm not sure, but I'm facing this way. He pulls the gun out again. And for some, I think because I grabbed the gun, somehow we maneuvered, we were struggling again. And I'm trying to break the gun, right? So we're struggling, and somehow I ended up this way again, struggling with this gun. And he's here back at the door, okay? So, because I just remember the door being there. And then I'm just trying to break this gun, because this is, I know it's plastic, and I know if I...
What's he doing?
He's yelling at me because he doesn't want me touching his gun. And so then I wouldn't let go, obviously, but... And I had a hold of his arm, his other arm, just in case he tried to punch me in the left, but he never did. And so we're just struggling. I'm just, you could tell, it's just weird that, because if he was a real gun, he would have fired it or whatnot. He never did. He had nothing, and he didn't. He never. Just wasn't professional. It was just like it was maybe his first time. That's how I thought of it.
After Mark Twitchell was arrested, the police took him back to the garage for further interrogation. The police were particularly focused on making Mark talk about the location of Johnny's body, believing that the surroundings might force him to confront the reality of his actions and finally disclose where he had disposed of the victim's remains. Investigators pointed out the inconsistencies between his previous statements and the damning evidence before them, hoping to break his composure. But Mark remained silent throughout the ride.
So, how did you lock this gate up to make him go in the overhead door? What did you do to lock it up? Is that the lock you bought at the store there? I showed you the Walmart receipt. Combo lock, you put it on here, you put it on the front. That all works fine. See how when you're installing this? See that? Take a look at those windows right there. See how easy it is for the neighbor to see who's doing it? See that? See that there? Beautiful view coming from the neighbor's house, either side. See who's doing this. Too easy. Way too easy, Mark. Bring back any memories? You want to tell us where the body is now? We'll get this over with. Get you back to the station.
Mark Twitchell was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. During his trial, the prosecution presented the SK Confessions document as key evidence, arguing that it was a detailed account of Twitchell's crimes. Twitchell's defense tried to claim that the document was a work of fiction, a screenplay that Twitchell had been working on. However, the jury saw through this defense, and on April 12, 2011, Mark Twitchell was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison, with no possibility of parole for 25 years. Mark Twitchell maintained silence regarding the whereabouts of Johnny's body. For a couple years, he refused to disclose any information that could bring closure to Johnny Altinger's family and friends. However, 2 years after he went to prison, he handed over a piece of paper containing directions that led investigators to a sewer in Edmonton, where they locate some of Altinger's remains, finally offering a measure of resolution to the case and family that had haunted so many. Today, Mark Twitchell remains incarcerated, serving his sentence at the Saskatchewan Penitentiary. His case continues to captivate public interest, largely due to the bizarre and horrifying nature of his crimes. Even behind bars, Mark Twitchell continues to attract attention, but not just from the public. Remarkably, Twitchell joined a dating site specifically for inmates, where he crafted a profile seeking companionship. On this platform, he portrayed himself as a misunderstood artist and writer, downplaying the horrific nature of his crimes. This profile paints a picture of someone longing for connection despite his dark past, showing how Twitchell continues to manipulate his image even while serving a life sentence for murder. Twitchell's attempt to bring his twisted fantasies to life, inspired by a fictional serial killer, has made him one of Canada's most notorious criminals.